Welcome to Gentex Multimedia live stream, streaming directly to your device from beautiful city of Brisbane in Australia on this 19th day of November 2020. Streaming directly to your device from beautiful city of Brisbane in Australia on this 19th day of November 2020. So ladies and gentlemen, do excuse, that was a bit of a delay happening there. But right now, once again, I'd like to welcome you to Gentex Multimedia's live stream, streaming directly to your device from beautiful city of Brisbane in Australia on this 19th day of November 2020. And congratulations to the Maroons. What a match. Rugby league at its best. How good our boys, Cairo, Munster and Grant are just amazing. South Australia imposes a total lockdown, coming in early, coming in hard. In today's show, we have the travel updates with Tanvi Goyal of Oz India Travels. And of course, we are streaming live to you from the page of Brisbane Indian Times, from my personal profile page, and of course on YouTube channel as well. So there's a number of channels that you can watch by. Well, right now, there's so much to talk about today. But first of all, today, let's get an update of what the weather has in store for us. With that, let's welcome Dilraj Dillon.
Good morning, everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 28 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy with 5% chances of rain. Wind southeasterly 15 to 20 km per hour, then becoming light in the evening. Fire danger is high. Sun protection is recommended till 3:30 and UV index is predicted to reach 11, that is extreme. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that, Dilraj. As we know that around this time of the year, that it is very important that sun protection be applied if you are moving out. It is, of prime importance that that's being done. Well, right now, let's go into the top stories for today.
6-day lockdown in an effort to quash emerging COVID-19 cases. The restrictions came into effect at midnight and include the closure of takeaway food outlets, universities, pubs, cafes, restaurants and food courts. Schools are also closed except for students whose parents are essential workers, and aged, disability and residential care facilities are in lockdown. There are now 23 confirmed cases with a further 7 suspected. A long-awaited report will be released by the Chief of the Defence Force today into alleged war crimes by special forces in Afghanistan. The Inspector General of Defence has been examining alleged unlawful killings and other offences for the last 4 years. The Prime Minister Scott Morrison has said Australians will be shocked and disturbed by some of the allegations, which could be referred for criminal investigation. Australian officials have responded angrily after a Chinese diplomat in Canberra launched a fresh attack on the federal government. An anonymous Chinese official provided a list of dozens of complaints to 9 newspapers. The federal government believes the complaints are unreasonable and misrepresent Australia's position. Drug company Pfizer will apply for emergency approval for its coronavirus vaccine within days after final trial results showed it's 95% effective and safe. Pfizer says the vaccine works equally well in people of all ethnicities and ages, including those over the age of 65.
So those were the news headline for this morning. And of course, we have seen all the news that's coming in and how good are our boys, as I mentioned before. It is wonderful to see, that match last night. And there's so many people, watching live there as well. Well, right now, when we look at all the functions and events that are happening, this is the time for school formals. And for school formals, what's happening is people get all kinds of fancy cars to be dropped off to the formal. Here's what not to do after getting dropped off. This driver drops off, the students to their formal and then drives off, showing off his car, and eventually what happens when you show off. So there you go. That's what not to do after dropping off your clients to the place. If you have a fancy car, trying to show off, and then the event happens. Well, right now, the other top news today is South Australia coming in hard, coming in early with that restrictions.
We've had to take this extreme action, this important intervention to put a circuit breaker in place to deal with this disease. We have a particularly difficult strain of the disease.
Will you make masks mandatory?
Look, we are very likely to make masks mandatory. We have to have, if you like, some flexibility in the next couple of days because people aren't used to this type of direction. But we are saying that if you're out in public, you should have that mask on. We're going hard, we're going early, we want to get out of it as quickly as we possibly can. But this is a pause in mobility to allow all of our contact tracing to be done and to move people into quarantine. We've got one shot. You don't get a second chance to stop a second wave, and so we're throwing absolutely everything at this because we want South Australia to have a Christmas. We've got great cooperation from the people of South Australia in terms of testing, but also in terms of going into quarantine when we ask them.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it is that time of the week when we discuss all the travel arrangements. And for the last few weeks, we have been providing this wonderful update of all the programs on, if you want to get to India or if you want to, go to India or come back from India. So what are the rules? What are the regulations? Are there charter flights or what flights are available as we know about the current situation that's happened in South Australia? Well, right now, we're providing all those information for the last couple of weeks. That valuable information is Tanvi, who's from Oz India Travel. So welcome to the show, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, Umesh. Thank you, everyone. This is Tanvi from Oz India Travel once again with you all with travel updates. Thank you for listening to us on Australian Indian Radio. That's really amazing that we already got so many calls from you all that you wait for our update every week. This is really amazing to know. Just a little note that these advices, whatever we share or discuss here, these are as per the current updates we receive. So for all the up-to-date information, please call us or check government websites or rules and regulations because they may change anytime.
And quite rightfully said there, Tanvi, because this is advice, general advice that we are providing. Information is current as of the time when we go to broadcast, but rules and regulations, because we are under the pandemic, can change from time to time. As we know, everything was open with South Australia and all of a sudden the pandemic there. So, all the new rules have come in there. So what's the main update for this week?
Okay, so before we go ahead, Umesh, I would like to tell all our listeners that we don't operate any of the charters ourselves, guys, but we have partnered with all the charter companies and airlines in Australia. So we got all the options for you. So you can see we are a one-stop shop. We have all kind of options. I just want to give you a few more recommendations before we start. So I would request you all or recommend you all, please check your circumstances first and check the charter you are interested, the airlines you're interested, because all the charters, if you pay the deposit or the full amount, everything is non-refundable. So you don't miss out on anything. If you need anything, you can always call us. Maybe I can tell you about Brisbane as well. So from Brisbane, if you're okay to fly with Emirates, then we have Emirates pretty much every Friday. They are giving you 30+7 luggage. And their fare starting from $1,095. If not that, because they are going with very longer hauls, like 22 hours. But we can give you flights pretty much every 7 to 10 days. We are connecting from Brisbane. And luckily, guys, I know some of you are sending your parents and very scared how to really, help them from here. So luckily, we have passengers pretty much going every week. So to give you an idea, we have passenger going tomorrow on 19, today on 19. We have passenger going 20th, then 30th November, and other dates as well. So pretty much your parents or whoever going from here, you can have, the companions from here and they can help your parents. You can fly. The dates are available Now from 20th November onwards up till 16th of January, that means you have pretty much one or two flights a week as well in some cases. Umesh.
Wow, that's very good. So things have started happening and they started moving. So which is very good. Now, what about Sydney? What are the options from Sydney? What options do they have?
Okay, Umeji, I would say Sydney is being lucky this week because Sydney got so many flights launched. So there are 3 new charters launched this week. One is 3rd of December, 10th of December, and then 17th of December. Then you have 2 more charters. So these 3 charters are from Sydney to Delhi. And then you have 2 more charters, that is Sydney to Bangalore, 15th of December and 15th of January. And we can get you any connection in Australian city or domestic in India. Another good news is that Air India also got so many flights now for you guys, and that's straight like 12, 13 hours flight. So the dates which I can see availability right now is 20th November, 23rd November, 27th November, 30th November, even 4th of December. So there are so many flights, and they are the straight flights, depart 10:15 a.m. in the morning and reaching it straight to Delhi at 6 o'clock. So these flights are really amazing. The only thing they're costing a little bit higher side, because while these flights, if you go with Air India, they're costing you $17.98. That's the starting fare. While the same flight you can take in one of our charters, and they're costing you $12.99, which means there's a $500 difference in price, but you have to select which one you want to definitely opt for.
But at least the option is there, even though they're paying a slightly
definitely
higher
option
price.
is there.
Right.
And I just want to mention one more thing here, Umesh ji, is as I mentioned in charters, the full money is non-refundable. So if you think your situation is a little bit dicey, then you might think of Air India, because majority of Air India flights are giving you a bit of money back. So if you decide not to go and last minute you have anything you have to cancel, then at least you get some money back. But in case of charter, it's 100% non-refundable. So both the options have their own pros and cons.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that is, I think, a very vital piece of information that you have just shared with us there. Now, what's happening with our lucky city? Remember, every week you said Melbourne's very lucky. What's happening with Melbourne this time?
Sydney is lucky one, because Sydney got more flights launched. But yeah, Melbourne is not too far. Melbourne got really a lot of flights. So we got 20th November, Melbourne to Delhi straight flight, 23rd November, 7th December, 8th December. There are quite a few flights, pretty much once or twice a week up till 12th of January. So yeah, there are so many flights already for Melbourne, and the fare starting from $1,195. So there is one date which is 23rd November, where you can have flight straight from Melbourne to Delhi for just $1,195 onwards.
Now, that is wonderful as well. Great news there. Well, right now we've got India covered, and we've got the 3 major cities. But one of the things that people would probably be very interested to find out at this point in time is domestic flights within Australia. So what's the update on that?
Umeji, I'm really proud and very happy to say that Qantas is taking a step further again, and they are thinking to start at least half of their capacity by Christmas. Because they had even a huge demand in domestic tourism recently, and Qantas sold over 40,000 seats between Sydney and Melbourne ahead of the border lifting on 23rd of November. So you can imagine there's so much demand and so many people planning between Sydney, Melbourne, and everywhere around Australia. So if Qantas is gonna come with a lot of more seats and a lot more options, so yes, everyone can plan and see where they can go.
Well, you have rightfully said, because there will be an influx. There will be lots of people who will all, many will leave it till the last minute. There will be a lot of people who will be disappointed because, coming onto the holidays, all of a sudden they'll try and make arrangements, and they'll find out that the seats are already taken or flights have already been booked. And it is wonderful to see that you mentioned Qantas and the CEO, and Qantas has just celebrated its 100th anniversary. So, that was wonderful. And I think Virgin has a new buyer today, all confirmed. So it's coming out of the administrators and going into proper management. I think that a US company has bought that. Wow, that's lots happening.
So many updates and so many exciting news coming on our way. So maybe we have something exciting coming next week too. So stay tuned for that too, guys.
Definitely we'll have that. Well, right now, of course, we've got the domestic part covered, but, our very, very close neighbor, sometimes people say it's another state of, Australia. So what's happening with the trans-Tasman bubble? People have been so eager to go to New Zealand.
I know. I even get calls every single day. Maisie, everyone is so excited to go there. In fact, last year, I think there were more than 1 million Australians visiting New Zealand that, they spent around 2.5 billion New Zealand dollars. So you can imagine there are so many people who are so eager. Right now, things situations are a bit better, but I was reading in one of the newsletters that New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinta, she said, if everything goes well with South Australia, if they manage it well, then they might start. But if not, then it may be a little bit problematic. So I think for New Zealand Trans-Tasman bubble, we might need to probably wait a little bit. But let's just hope for the best. Everything goes well with South Australia, and maybe it starts next month. So let's hope for the best. Signals are definitely good at this stage.
Yes, let's do wait for the best, because you know what happens. Last time everything was going well, then Victoria had a bit of a problem. Right now is South Australia, which was considered all very good or very safe, that they're doing it well. But these things do happen. Well, and I think they have the announcement of that big complete lockdown. I think it is very well founded, because that's the only way. If you're going to control it, just lock it down for the time being, so that we can all move on. Now, of course, there are people who are in India, and we've always been discussing this. They really want to get back here as well. Now with the current situation. So what's the update there if someone stuck in India or wanting to come back to Australia?
Maisie, I would say after a long time, I think after 4-5 weeks since we started this, I would say there's a bit of good news. I can hear from some of the lovely passengers they shared with us. So Qantas, since for the 23rd of November, the Qantas has a flight from Delhi to Darwin, and I saw there are so many people already booked. I think at least I saw 30-40 passengers has already booked. Still, the number of passengers they are bringing is a bit unclear. We can't comment on that. We didn't get any information. But we know there are so many passengers already booked, like at least 30 passengers we have seen have booked. And I just before this, I was talking to some of the passengers as well to know how was their experience, how they are coping with this. Even the previous passengers who have traveled last week, so we can get some up-to-date information for our listeners, who are ready to go in next few days, so how they should prepare. So before we go ahead, I would like to mention that these are the updates from some of the passengers who have booked or who have traveled last week. So guys, if you have booked those flights, please check with the booking agent or the airlines as well for up-to-date information. But let me just give you the overview how it should be. And what the other passenger told us who are flying on 23rd of November flight. So very first thing, which everyone really always is scared and want to make sure that they're doing it right. So that is RT-PCR testing update, because just remember one thing, that the situations, how it's Australia to India is different than India to Australia. So please don't mix up that. The one we discussed in previous episodes, they are only Australia to India. But this time we are trying to give you more information since things are started opening up. So this time we're talking about India to Australia. So that's pretty different than Australia to India. So this one is India to Australia. Now, RT-PCR testing update, as per the passenger we spoke this morning, he said it should be done 48 hours maximum prior to departure. So for example, if Qantas flight is 23rd of November at 6 p.m., then you should start doing it 6 p.m. on 21st of November. And you can do it by till 22nd of November by 6 p.m. because majority of time, the turnaround time for the PCR negative test report is around 24 hours. So make sure you have that. And you have to produce it or show it to Qantas before you board the flight, which is at 6 p.m. 23rd of November. Now, how do you get that result? So result is generally sent over your phone, over the phone, or whenever you do the test, if you give them your email ID, they send you the report by email as well. So another question was asked that at what stage the anti form has to be filled and submitted during boarding flight or not. So anti form basically, guys, when you do the booking, they send you by email. So you have to fill that one, and you can fill it on the way, and you can fill it even when you are in the plane or airport, so don't have to worry about it. As long as you have that filled and completed before you arrive at Darwin Airport, it should be fine. Now, another thing is you need to know that because Qantas or Ticket has already contacted you to most of the passengers, but some of the passengers have not received the tickets, or they have not even received the payment link. So where to pay? And we feel like if we have not paid, our seat is not confirmed. So nothing like that. So if they have already confirmed it to you by email, that's perfectly fine. You should be able to get the payment link. It's generally 3 to 5 days before departure. So they should be able to send it to you. Once they send you the payment link, just pay there. Then you get the next notification that your ticket is confirmed. So don't worry about that. Next is, for a lot of people like myself, very worried about the vegetarian food. We got so many passengers ask that when they come from India to Australia, especially parents, there are some parents who are on PR or citizens as well here. They're coming back and they're worried about the vegetarian food. So don't worry about the vegetarian food, because all the hotels are really accommodating all the vegetarian or special dietary requirements passengers as well. So all you have to do is, when you fill your NT form, you just mention that you are vegetarian, and they should be able to have the options for you. So there is no problem for the people who are vegetarian. Now, another thing is, some of the passengers were asking whether, if you are from a different city, for example, someone is coming from Vizag or coming from Chennai to Delhi or different state, Ahmedabad and all, where you should come. So I was asking the other passenger, they said generally it's recommended that you come at least day before. So if the flight from Delhi is 23rd of November, make sure you arrive there at least 22nd morning, because as I said, you have to do the COVID test. If it's not done in your city, then you can do in Delhi, and there are some centers where you can go. So, and another thing, someone asked that whether you can stay at your friend's place or not. So then one of the passengers said he was told that he can stay anywhere as long as he does the test within the time limit given. And either he can call the testing people at your home, which is great in Delhi. Since there are some the pathology staff, they are visiting some people's home, whoever living nearby airport, or you can visit one of the centers around as well. And one more very important thing, guys, which most of you are worried and asked this before about the SIM card. So if you're coming from India and you feel that you have family here, you cannot contact and other problems, SIM card is never being a problem. So when you reach to the airport, you might not get it there, but in your quarantine services, just ask the officials around you. Just have your, passport handy, and SIM card is generally available in your quarantine services. So you don't have to worry about that. So these are the main updates. If you're taking one of the flights coming from India to Australia, what you should know about the flights, these are the main details. But still, if you are still looking, if you have not able to successfully book any of these flights and you want to come back, I would remind you once again, please register yourself at the Indian High Commission Delhi. So you get the regular updates about the upcoming flights. So we cannot book anything. In fact, you won't probably find many agents who can book it. But it's very important for you to be up to date about the details and what flights are coming. So don't forget to register yourself with Australian High Commission. Umesh.
Wow, that's a lot there, but it is very, very wonderful and very timely, all the information that you have said there. And it is very important that people take into account those traveling times, like, Chennai coming a day before. And of course, that is very, very important. As a rule of thumb, every time I was in Rajasthan, so I always make sure I come one day before to Delhi. And stay in Aero City, and they just connect you to the airport. I don't want the hassle of being stuck in the traffic. Should there be something on the road? So there's too much. It's very risky. So and in times like this, because of those testings and other things, what you have said there is very, very important for people to take note of that. Well, I mean, here we are getting into the holiday mood. So, what's happening with the local scene about the tourism. So, any updates or what's available, what can people do, what can people plan and what they can't plan for?
Okay, Umesh ji, I just read another news which was very exciting for people in New South Wales. The government seems launched something called Out and About voucher. So guys in Sydney and New South Wales, you need to know there is something exciting coming your way. So this particular voucher scheme is to help the local businesses to recover from COVID-19 pandemic. So New South Wales residents should be given the $100 worth of digital voucher. How exciting is that, guys? You don't have to
That's good.
pay anything for it. To be used on arts and tourism attractions around the state, as well as for any of the restaurants and things around. And that's part of the flagship of $500 million program to help businesses stimulate the New South Wales economy and support local jobs. So that's really amazing. Another amazing thing, guys, is the entertainment company Merlin has rejoiced the government New South Wales stimulus announcement and believing it will benefit many of the attractions you generally go. So the main attraction, which is part of the Sydney or New South Wales itinerary, which is Sea Life Aquarium, Sea Life Tower Eye, Wildlife Zoo, and Madden Sites, they all maybe seems like should be the part of it. That means you have quite a few options within that package, and you have so many other things to do. So yeah, there is a lot happening, not only in New South Wales. Seeing there are other states also planning to have some good packages for you guys and good things for you guys. So just stay tuned, and yeah, you can start plan and get so many freebies too these days, guys.
Now that is wonderful news. As we know that the governments are promoting the arts, and they would like people to go and visit the museum and visit the art. And of course, Melbourne being the capital of theatre, as they say, everything to do with theatrical experience, it's based in Melbourne. So I think it is very timely that the government is providing this kind of some incentives there for people to go, and that will also encourage people to get out, go into these places, and number two, it will boost the economy. And the art sector has really been affected very, very badly during this pandemic, so that's great. So now, if people are now planning on traveling, taking into account all these areas that they can go to now, and flights coming and backwards, so what are the key points, what are the key tips that you would like to give people that they must have during traveling, if they're traveling now?
Umesh ji, I would like to remind everyone once again, to those who are going Australia to India, even those who are now happily coming from India to Australia, guys, once again, don't forget to have currency with you. I'm still listening, a lot of passengers or their family are forgetting taking the coins and the notes and the cards with them, and they are suffering. So please make sure, if you're listening to us and your friends are traveling, please remind them as well that make sure you have some Australian currency with you in a smaller notes or bigger notes, and Indian currency as well, because at airport you might need something coming last minute. So I would like to remind you for money. Second thing, guys, please be careful and check all your documents, because sometimes passengers don't check. These days the packages also come in different modes, different formats, like it can be 20 kilos, 30 kilos, 40 kilos, 50 kilos, like that. And I heard some passengers, even though we tell them that your luggage is 30 kilos, but some passengers have on their mind that no, it should be 40 kilos. So please don't assume anything yourself. It's always good to check. It's always mentioned in your ticket. And whoever you booked with, always reconfirm with them, because I saw another passengers left yesterday, and the parents reached at the airport, and then they heard that their luggage is 30 kilos while they packed 40 kilos. So it was so much hassle for them, because they have packed a lot of things and they wanted to take it. But unfortunately, the charter companies does not allow any access baggage. You have to remember that. So in case of the normal airlines or repatriation flights operated by airlines, they still give you option that you can pay at the airport and take it. But in case of charter companies, they are not allowing you to take any extra baggage. So please make sure and check it double time that you have opted the right luggage and you packed it that way. And then if you have opted for wheelchair assistance, these days all the airlines are asking for the medical certificate, because there are hardly 50, 60 or in some cases 70, 80 wheelchairs. But as you all know that we have maximum parents are traveling these days in all the flights. And mostly 70 to 80% capacity. So let's say 200, 250 are the parents. And you can imagine if there are 250 passengers or the parents are asking for wheelchair and 60 only available, then you can understand that how many people gonna get. So for that to, get so that the genuine people get it, whoever really can't walk. So Airlines is asking for the medical certificate. So if you want to apply the wheelchair for your parents and it's really genuine, so please apply only when it's genuine. So it can be given to the passenger who really needs it. And if you think your passenger needs it, please arrange the medical letter beforehand, because without that medical letter, they won't be able to get the wheelchair assistance. So this is another tip for you. And please check your visa as well for your parents' visa, because sometimes passengers think that, their visa is, for example, I got a passenger who thinks the visa was expiring on 30th December, but when he sent it to me and I check all the documents and I'm like, no, it's expiring on 30th November, because he was planning 7th December flight, thinking that the visa expiring 30th December, but it's not. When I checked the documents, I found, oh my God, you can't fly on 7th of December. You need to upgrade. You have to extend your visa. And unfortunately, on his visa condition, he cannot extend, which means, there is a lot of hassle. So guys, please make sure you check the visa conditions for your parents if they're staying here. You have to check the visa expiry as well when it's doing. Just don't assume things, because this is the assume word and probably you're thinking I'm using a lot. And the main reason is that whenever I talk, I know so many people are so stressed out, but believe me, it will be more stressful situation for you if you assume yourself and then later on you come across, oh my God, I have done really a blunder or big mistake. So yeah, I would just like to remind you all, please make sure your documents are up to date. Don't assume anything yourself. Make sure you have all the documents handy. Make sure you have the luggage correct, and written in your ticket or you check with them. And for wheelchair, make sure you have a medical letter. And very important, don't forget to have some currency with you. So I think that sums up pretty much what all you need to do, Macy.
No, that's very well said. Once again, that medical certificate, because I know from experience that many people, especially when they have elderly parents and they know they might have problem getting through customs and other things like that, they just put in wheelchair required. So now that they're checking for that, I know it is a great service. I used it once and I felt bad. But it was after my big heart operation and I had to go to US and had to change terminals there. And Usha was with me, but she had problem keeping up. And I'll tell you what, I got the VIP service because, before I know how long it took me from one terminal to another. This time, because they had me on the wheelchair, they took me through, lifts and other things. And all of a sudden I was into the other terminal without any hassle. It is a great service, but it is for the people who really need it. So, we have to do the right thing as well. And you have quite rightfully pointed out all the things.
Language-wise, there are so many passengers who are taking just because of the language barrier. They feel they won't be able to communicate. But guys, remember that in these all charter flights, only Indians are going. So this is maybe once in a lifetime opportunity. This COVID has given to us that only Indians, our brothers and sisters, are flying in a plane. So you won't have a communication problem. And custom-wise also, they are taking you pretty smoothly. And because all Indians are going, then communication is not a problem. So please opt it only if it's needed.
Of course, yes, and that's a very good point as well, because that's only Indians are going, yes. That would be quite different, yes, quite an experience. And as you said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime situation where you probably have this. Well, Tanvit, once again, thank you so much, and thank you so much for providing this wonderful information, and it's a valuable service that you're providing to the community. And of course, as you have mentioned, that if anyone, whether they're booking through you or not, but if they need information, they are quite welcome to contact you. The numbers are here on the screen at the moment. So, you can contact Tanvi on any of these numbers. And of course, she is willing to help you, assist you, with your inquiry in the best way that she can under the current circumstances. And I think it's a great service that you provide. Love the work you're doing. Keep up the wonderful work. And until next week, it's goodbye.
Thank you so much, everyone. And hope you all are safe. And as Umesh ji mentioned, if you need any help related to travel or anything, just feel free to call. I'll just repeat our hotline, which is 040-440-3264. I'm widely available on the Facebook. You can just message me and I'll be right back to you. So yeah, feel free to call us. And we have a lot of videos also on our Facebook page. And you can go through our previous interviews on Australian Indian Radio. It's been happening from 5 to 6 weeks. And every week we have covered something new topics, and you will basically have all the information you need to know if you want to fly from Australia to India or India to Australia, and the updates, how things happening. So just go through the last videos as well. We are always live on Thursday mornings around 10 o'clock onwards. So just go through the previous ones as well. And if you have any question, please feel free to message on this particular video. You can contact Umesh or Australian Indian Radio, or you can contact us at Positive Travel. We're always happy to answer and come up with the new topics if you may have. And yeah, definitely happy to help you all.
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Stay safe. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the weekly update from Oz India Travel with Tanvi. Right now, it's time to take a commercial break.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world. And don't forget that on every Wednesday they provide an up-to-date on the real estate market and what's following the property trends, and of course giving you an indication of how the market is going, the number of listings available on the market, which areas have increased in price and value, and all that. Well, right now time to go to some of the events, and one of the events that Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radio is supporting is FICQ's Diwali, which will be on Sunday, and of course there'll be few people who will be attending it in person, but the main thing is they're trying to get everyone to view it and be together on that day via the video link and of the Facebook Live that will be happening. To explain all about that, we're going to welcome it in the studio Syam Das, the president of FICQ. Syamji, namaskar.
Namaskar. With great pleasure and delight, the Federation of Indian Communities brings to you Diwali 2020. It's a festival of lights, festival of peace, happiness and joy. Diwali symbolizes victory of good over bad. Due to COVID, we are live streaming the entire program. Come and join us virtually and celebrate the festival and bring brightness in everyone's life. Have a wonderful Diwali. May the coming year be full of happiness, prosperity and peace for everyone. Namaskar. Happy Diwali to everyone.
And thank you very much for that update there. And yes, please do join in on Sunday. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we know that there's so much to talk about, and every day we try to bring to you some interviews. Tomorrow's interview will be very, very interesting as we speak to Safdar Ali, who is the director of the Aging Equation, and we are looking at the aged care, and of course, how there is a lack of culturally diverse accommodation, and of course the needs of the culturally diverse elders in these homes. How are they managed, or are they managed or not? And if you are a community organization, what can you do? How can you get into that sector of aged care? Should it be a wider community approach, or should it be an approach by an individual committee, organization? How to do it? So he is the chief consultant of that, and tomorrow he will disclose all these questions, and if you have any questions, happy to take the questions as well. So, until tomorrow, it is goodbye from me, but before I leave you, we'll look at all the other functions and events that are taking place, and don't forget that some of these would be taking place virtually. As we know, Friday, tomorrow is White Ribbon Day as well, so we'll bring a special program on that as well, White Ribbon, and I will also be available, to answer anyone's questions directly in Tigam Shopping Center, where we'll be manning a White Ribbon display and White Ribbon stall, raising awareness about that, putting an end to domestic violence. This is a topic which is very, very important, and it's a dialogue that needs to be had, especially in today's day and age. And of course, no community is immune from domestic violence. So each and every community, all multicultural communities, need to get together and talk about this, as we have seen many times that people are afraid to speak up because they're afraid what their friends would say, that there might be a disgrace in the family, and many times people suffer in silence, and that's not the way to be. If it comes to the surface early enough, and if it's known early enough, there's so much that can be done. So don't be afraid. If you are not feeling well, if you're feeling threatened in a relationship, do speak up, because it would make a big difference that if you speak up, and if you speak up at the right time. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's goodbye from me. It's been wonderful having your company until tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, but most importantly, do remain safe. Bye-bye.